So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaurya Bose, and I'm Assistant Manager at Data Security Council of India. Thank you so much for waiting for this. So we are gathered here for this particular session. It's called Shift Left on Privacy, Embedding Data Protection in Early DevSecOps Stages. Right? We have a fantastic panel, very varied experiences, and something that you're seeing on the screen is something we've thought about for you all audience. This is a Slido link. You can, just scan the QR code, enter with your name, ask away questions. At the end of this session, a lucky winner gets a prize. Right? I hope, it's going to be important if it's relevant questions, because otherwise there's no point. Scan the code, get into your name. You should, yeah, please, can we have everybody seated? All right. Yeah, please, can we have everybody? Can we have a show of hands if everybody has been able to scan the code, please? Done? Scan code this side, please. Simple enough. If you can please mute your devices, that will be very, very appreciated. Can you please go ahead? Please come in, and please join. This side, please. Can we have people? I request people to come in the front. There are enough and more seats here. And on my right over here, please. If you can, please quickly do that. Slido link for asking questions. Scan the code. Enter with your name. Lucky winner at the end of the session will be picked and will win a prize. All right. So in today's digital landscape, privacy can no longer be an afterthought. The concept of shifting left means integrating data protection considerations right from the earliest stages of development. And that's exactly what we are trying to explore here today. So as I said, stellar group of people based on privacy and from security leaders who will share their experiences and best practices of how their organizations can embed or have been embedding privacy by design into their DevSecOps practices. So can we please have a round of applause for our 5 panelists, starting with Ms. Akansha Garg, Data Protection Officer and Head Digital Products, PMO at HDL Securities. Please put our hands together. Akansha Garg, thank you so much. Next up, can we please have Senior Director and Global DPO at Biocon Biologics, Mr. Tanin Chakrabarti. Round of applause, please. All right. If you want to go ahead. Please be as comfortable as possible. Don't want people to. Can we please have everybody inside? We have started the session. Thank you. Much appreciated, please. Less noise. That will be great. Our third panelist. Sorry, excuse me. Can we please have that? Can we please occupy those seats on also? Thank you. Quickly, please. Thank you. That will be great. Our third panelist is Regional DPO for Asia Pacific at Capgemini, Ms. Neeti Paul. Round of applause, please. Please, round of applause. Neeti, welcome. Our fourth panelist is CISO and DPO at Paytm Money. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Vinod Kumar Gupta. If you can, yeah, just maybe shift left. All right, okay. We'll keep that pun going on. That's great. Can we please? Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Moderating this session is Mr. Jaspreet Singh, Partner and Cyber Advisory Leader at Grant Thornton Bharat.
Nice meeting you.
Good to have you, Jaspreet.
Thank you.
Over to you.
Hi, good afternoon. I don't think so we need a mic. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yeah? Perfect.
You have to give this? Yeah.
No, you have.
Okay, cool. Before we start, people who are joining in, this is the QR code. People who are just joining in, QR code on the Slido. You can ask your questions at the end of the day, at the end of the session, my bad. We'll have a lucky winner who gets a prize. Jaspreet, sir. Modi.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. People who don't participate, people who look at their phones, he's already taking notes. Their name will be disqualified from the for the lucky draw.
Like I'm really not kidding. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I've never had so much fun curating a panel. I fortunately get to be on stage once a week in some panel or something. But today we just met an hour before the panel, and the ideas that were flowing, thanks to the government of India on privacy, were simply shift left. Uh, I'm sure you don't need an introduction to privacy if you look at what's happening in the Indian landscape. Pick up any newspaper. Every day, there's a news on privacy. Yesterday, there was an app which said it will be pre-installed. People said, will it become Pegasus, etc., etc. What about our rights, etc. The DPDPA rules 2025, I think, has everybody sitting in this room worried. What about my data? But a question to you, audience, before I go on to the esteemed panelists who are much more intelligent than me. Do you think as Indians we are really worried about our data? How many people say yes? Hands high.
So I believe they have not scanned this.
yeah, Jaspreet and everybody else, we also have a few questions for the people already. You can ask away and you can put in your questions, answers here as well, please.
So I saw 3 hands, roughly calculating out of 30 people, that's less than 10%. So I'm assuming everybody is saying that we are not worried about our personal information, right? And I think that's unfortunately the way we've, the way our society has evolved. European Union passed EU Act in 1995 before they came up with GDPR in 2018. I think it's a very fundamental shift, a very positive shift for organizations now to look at privacy very, very differently. With that, let me start with you, Akansha. Your opening comments, please. What did you feel when you got invited to this? And by the way, this topic came to us, all of us, 3 months ago. We could predict the future. We said, in 3 months, we'll have DPDP rules, and hence we picked up this topic. Thank you. Akansha.
So generally, till date, even after DPDP, I believe lot of comments, lot of questions what I keep getting is, still people look privacy just as a compliance guidelines. Not serious, neither knowing about their own rights, nor about how as an organization we should be functioning and taking care of that. So that's a cultural shift, that's a mind shift. As a organization, as a person, we all need to build within us. Over to you.
Yep, I think you made a very valid point, saying maybe unfortunately we can't look at it from a compliance perspective, and we'll go around the table when we discuss why not only compliance lens that needs to be applied. Thank you for that. Tanin, your opening comments, please.
Yes, many people doesn't know that privacy is a fundamental right. And
Thank you.
That's a very important thing. When I'm speaking, I said, how many people know when to vote? Everyone has raised the hand, says 18 years after I can vote. But none of them was able to know that I have a fundamental right. So that's clearly calls out where we stand on the literacy or privacy. So taking that point and bringing to the office remains the same, where people like any individual, cybersecurity individuals, BPOs, CISOs or whosoever has to make sure that you have to build privacy first culture within the company.
Yeah.
The data literacy, privacy literacy is a very important topic. As everyone would know, the weakest link in the company is, one of the weakest link is the employees.
Yeah.
If in case they are not being trained and they're coming from a college, they're coming from different organizations where they would have not have any knowledge on privacy, it becomes a humongous challenge for each of us to drive that. And yes, I can.
No, thank you so much for saying privacy is one of the fundamental rights that we can exercise.
So something has to be trained or taught from the school days, college days. They should be knowing that privacy is something. I was reading a lot of articles in Europe. A small kid know where to file a complaint.
How to exercise their right.
No, sorry, forget small kids. Let's ask everybody here. Does everybody know how to file a complaint? God forbid, some of your data is.
Let's use the mic. I think,
Okay.
for the
I don't want people outside to also hear my voice,
that's
so
okay.
I'll moderate it. I'll moderate it down.
It's just for the video.
So let me ask people sitting here: do you know where to file a case in case something goes wrong? from a privacy perspective? Yeah, maybe 3, 4, 5 hands. And you're talking about small children.
Yeah, yeah.
But we'll come to that. Thank you for
1930 is the number people doesn't know at all.
thank you for talking about that. We'll come to that. Neeti,
It's okay.
your opening comments, please.
Yeah. So I think Tanin raised two words also in the room, like DPOs and CISOs. So I'm going to take a step back and say, do we in the room also understand that data protection and data privacy are two different things? Because they
Is
are
it?
usually overlapping and interchangeably used, right? So if I say if an organization is doing superb data protection, they have all the ISOs of the world certified, are they privacy compliant? Maybe a show of hands would help. Do you think data protection encompasses data privacy? No. Thank you for that. So data protection, as the word suggests, is just your encryption or protecting those data sets, no? Those systems, the logs and all of that. Privacy really talks about the rights of individuals like you and I, which we are very comfortable to share at the drop of the hat, at the promise of, some prize or some return. We are willing to exchange our personal data. Well, having said that, we do have the new law in the place, and there's a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty, and that's why we've put this whole thing together to bring the knowledge to the table to say that privacy rights are different from data protection standards, and you and I have those, and we're going to touch base
Scare
about...
them even more,
No,
probably.
we're going to touch base a bit about them and how you can utilize and address those.
No, thank you. I think very valid points, Neeti. I'm sure 95% people don't even know data privacy officer, data protection officer. Forget going back to what actually both the functions mean. Vinod, over to you. Your opening comments, please.
Thank you for having me here. So, as Akansha rightly mentioned, that this cultural shift has to happen, not only from the individual point of view, citizen point of view, from the organization point of view as well. Okay, so definitely that cultural shift will happen. It will take their own sweet time. But the main challenges for organization like us is to implement those controls to comply with the law and to fulfill the data principal rights per se. So for that, my opening comment is that this particular topic is very timely. I see that data privacy is not something which can be retrofitted into the ecosystem. We have to design the application, we have to design our workflow in such a way. We need to ensure the privacy in a very first stage, in the sprint 0, not in sprint 6. So this is the one key aspect, and this topic is very timely. And same time, we also need to understand that why this is required. As we have been talking about maybe a decade before, is that security by design. Now we need to talk about the privacy by design. So we can only ensure the privacy by design by ensuring the data protection, data discussion, bringing into the early stage on the development of your application or your workflow.
No, I think Vinod, super points. Unfortunately, a lot of businesses that I speak to, they talk about going to the market very fast, right? But the way I think the industry moved 10 years ago, where security by design became a fundamental thing, right? You think security first. I think now with security, you need to think privacy first,
Right.
or you'll be out of business.
Right.
Imagine talking to somebody and you've got to know there's a data breach there and your personal information's been lost. I'm sure next time you do business with them, you'll be very wary of doing business with them.
Exactly.
And today, the way a news channel work is one small breach, and on all news channel, on all newspapers, you're the front page headlines. Even if nobody understands what a data breach is, but unfortunately, that's where it starts from.
Pardon me to interrupt. Like, I know there are financial repercussions which no one talks about, or they say that, yeah, we don't have a law, or maybe very few cases are actually enforceable where people have been penalized and they've actually paid up. But the reputational damage is what
Nobody
one's
can-
looking at.
yeah.
You can't quantify. So you would never, it's a straight loss of business. So I think privacy should be looked at as a new USP, like a unique selling point for businesses today, instead of like, just a compliance tick in the box.
Perfect. So with that, maybe let me start with you, Akansha. You spoke about compliance, right? What do organizations today need to do from a roadmap perspective to demonstrate compliance with DPDPA?
So personally, I always believe whenever we need to bake any compliance into any of the journeys,
Right.
first thing first, start from the source. So when we say source, so any product, whatever you are building upon, whatever is your product roadmap, it's not just the security, it should not just be the feature or just the UI. Why not embed the privacy at that point of time?
Right.
Start with your developers. Like a lot of times, I mean, nothing to hurt anybody's feelings, but there's always a culture wherein, you know, some data points hard coded within that code, because I don't, when I want to run my DevSec, I want to test it, and who will remember that? I'll just put it in the comments and let go. Just an example. And like the culture, as I said earlier. So starting from there, why not to bake the privacy at that point of time, has those standards in place, wherein I build the practices from there, that when I'm building my product at that point of time only, I'll start taking care of the privacy. Have my, privacy as a policy in my DevSecOps pipeline, in my
Right.
CI/CD pipeline. If there is any PI data going into the code, are we having that kind of scans? So that way we'll be able to have, I mean, shift. Privacy can't be afterthought. Okay, it's just like, you know, post a crash, we are thinking, okay, no, I should be wearing a seat belt. But whatever has to happen, it's already happened. So you need to take care first before any incident happened.
Thank you. Tanin, your comments on how should organizations look at implementation. Akansha made some very nice points, but I'm a 70-year-old organization, right? I have my hotels or I have my apps which are working very beautifully. Do I go back, change everything the way users look at me, or do I start fresh? How do you start implementing DPDPA?
Very pertinent question, and I'm sure many companies in this India and other countries who are picking up privacy as the first thing, they would be feeling the same challenge. The first is a very important is, where is your data? No one knows that. How you have collected, where you have kept it. You have legacy systems, that your legacy applications, and where all you have kept the data. Find the data. Had it been in Europe, I would have said segregate the data, but segregation of PI, SPI. But if in case in India, I would say if it is a personal data, pick it up.
Just 10 seconds break. People sitting here, forget professional data. On your mobile, on your laptop, are you aware of every single PII that you have today? Anybody? Nobody, right? So imagine, extrapolate this to an organization perspective, and just think of that poor CISO, CIO, DPO, or whatever. How are they going to understand what is the lay of land from a data perspective? Yeah, please continue. Thank you for that.
Fun is
They have an Excel sheet to take.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fun is go to admin, go to HR, and open up the laptop. You will
They'll have everything.
everything. We call it Janam Kundli. You will find everything out there, every other resume setting onto it, and you ask them, "Do you need them?" Yes, we need it.
Why they have no answer?
When? Maybe after 2-3 years. I'm saying the same HR, the person will upgrade their knowledge from here to somewhere else. They would doing privacy now. By the time you are going to hire next time, is going to do a CEO of the company. Are you going to keep the same resume for 3 years, 10 years? Yes, we have got it from somewhere. We have to keep it. Now, coming back to your point that yes, understand where exactly this data. Understand, do you really need the data? Keep the data what is required, and that is one of the principles that you will always be seeing in the privacy regulations, whether it's GDPR, DPDP, whatever, data minimization that I am referring to. Collect what you need, process what you required. After you keep it for the time being that you actually require it, and then destroy, delete. You don't have
Perfect.
it.
Great question.
Footprint
And
of
with
it.
that, probably I'll segue into you, Neeti. Tanin spoke about data minimization.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, today you go to any place, you go to a hotel, any hotel, they ask you 20 different types of data.
Yeah.
If you go for an interview, the pre-interview form is 5 pages long,
Yeah.
right? So do you really think, number one, data minimization is the key there? Because at least I feel whatever data you collect, you need to store and secure in that this thing. And
Yeah.
second point, I think even more important that Tanin raised, and then probably I'll come to you, Vinod, on this, is accept few data. Why do I need to keep other data forever? I work with so many boards,
Yeah.
I ask them, do you have a data retention policy? And they think we keep data forever. What is data retention? What is that? What is data retention? ये मुझे 10 साल के बाद भी काम आ सकता है. It's like our Indian households, right? We never throw out anything. ये काम, there's this old furniture. ये 20 साल से पड़ा है, कभी काम तो आएगा ही future में. Yeah. Yeah, please.
So generally when I receive this kind of questions from the board or somebody, I always tell them, okay, so do you feel you need to cut down some of the weight? They say yes. Most of the time I receive an answer yes. So I say then consider data as your diet. Consume, keep it only whatever it's bare minimum required.
That's a
for
good
your
one. I'll use it for my next event. Thank you. Yeah.
A bit of a
royalty.
declutter during
Yeah,
Diwali.
declutter.
Yeah.
Wow.
See? Hashtag declutter. No, but these are very important questions. I think culturally we've considered data as the new oil. It really irritates me now. It's not relevant. More the data, more is the risk. Okay, and thanks to the new legislations, and I think India has already been very notorious with the sectoral style of the guidelines, right? We've always had retention schedules defined sectorally, right? For social media intermediaries, it's been different. For the finance players, it's been different. But keeping data indefinitely is absolutely out of question. And that's why I think privacy needs to have a very scientific eye. It needs to be, have a risk-based approach. You cannot but have a data protection risk assessment, embedded in your business ecosystem or in your lifestyle change sort of mechanism where you know what data is coming in, where am I storing it, for how long am I going to keep it. It's exactly like the purpose limitation, right? So if Domino's Pizza needs my birth date to deliver a pizza, there's something wrong. All it needs to know is what pizza with what toppings and where it needs to deliver, right? And if they're overstepping and if you do not fill it, it gives you a denial of service sort of a approach, then that is something that needs to be challenged. And I think that's why the new law in the country, I'm hoping, will push for it. So I have a very simple formula for what organizations should do if we are still treading on that topic. It's called the A, B, and C. Okay, A stands for accountability. It cannot just be a CISO or a DPO who's in charge of what data needs to go where and how long it needs to be stored. It's all the stakeholders coming together, and that's why the privacy by design, it's not an afterthought, but at the conceptualization stage. And B would really mean like basing your decisions from a risk-based approach that we spoke
Right.
about. And C would be more consumer-centric. Like think about the consumer before you pre-plan your development, your software, and so on and so forth.
Perfect. With that, Vinod, I'd like to come to you and thank you for bringing that accountability question. Normally, 90% organizations, 99% organizations, just increase the percentage, hire a CISO and DPO and say, boss, security and privacy taken care of, right? Whereas Neeti said that the entire organization needs to come together. So I need maybe 3 views from you. One is, what's your view on this? Who should run privacy in an organization, right? At what stage should a DPO get involved, etc.? Number one. Number two is the entire data minimization piece, and how can it segue into your incident response mechanism? Your thoughts, please.
So rightly mentioned, even I am also holding 2 positions, 2 roles, CISO and DPO. So I tried a lot to convince my board that so that basically the security is not privacy, privacy is not security.
Right.
We need to understand this particular thing, and we not only need to understand, we also need to understand our developers, our engineering team, our product team, right? So CISO cannot be DPO. Who should own this? So in my lens, DPO is a facilitator.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
DPO is not owning it. Whether it's a CISO holding a DPO position or maybe a separate DPO. Even the separate DPO is there, that DPO is only the facilitator. That particular privacy to be led by each and every department, be it HR, be it engineering, be it tech, be it business, be it compliance. Everyone is equally responsible.
Thank you.
Equally responsible.
Yep. Thank you for bringing that out.
And your second question, sorry.
Incident. How do?
Yeah. So I see this particular law, though rules are there out there, but still this is a kind of black box. Okay, there are lots of gray area.
Right.
The,
What is an incident first?
right. What is the incident first? And this particular law making organization more vulnerable. See, in cybersecurity, there is some obligations that we need to notify the incident to the CERT
Certain.
or maybe some more authorities. But if you see, that was basically a very close dialogue or discussion, or maybe a reporting. But in this particular DPDPA case, we need to inform the data principal. Let's say, for example, being an organization like from the fintech, we provide a services on million of users. Let's say one incident is there, and that incident is impacting maybe a million of users due to PII data. Then we need to inform the data principal individually.
So which is all of us today using this particular brand of fintech. Probably just imagine you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. There's been a small data breach somewhere in the country. But they have a responsibility today. Being a CISO DPO becomes very difficult to distinguish what is my data that's got breached. Then you get up in the morning, get a message saying, oh, we've had a breach, we are looking into it. How would you feel as users of that app, as a general public? Unfortunately, if we read our newspapers and see one particular bank in one branch, the ATM is not working or there is a limit, we all queue up, right? Imagine the disruption it could do to the brand.
Rightly.
Yeah.
So
Thank you for the great point.
the taking the brand reputation, security is actually nowadays very tough. Yeah. So this is
Perfect.
my
Thank you. Akansha, now I want to start another series of questions, which is probably one minute each. Consent, right? I think in India, we are great at giving.
We also have a few questions here.
We will address this, from a consent management perspective. But today, how many of you use Uber, Ola, Rapido, or everybody, right? Do you know that to reach you, call you, the Uber, Ola driver also gets access to your latitude, longitude, your address, GPS coordinates, your masked phone number. And when he signs up for that application, he has to give consent. Obviously, before he gets access to that information. Do you really think he understands what consent is? He earns 25,000 rupees a month. For him, it's a livelihood issue. What are we doing in consent management? And do you think as a country, we have a problem?
Okay, we do have a big problem.
Thank
Trust
you.
me, because consent till now it's more like again going back to my first statement, just like a tick box, something. In the end, one check box, some XYZ terms and conditions, just like any policy. In the bottom, in the fine prints, there is something which nobody bothers to read. Just because I have to go through this journey, I have to move to the next step. I'll just take and move ahead. Exactly, that is how the culturally India's ecosystem, the businesses and the fraternity is working upon, which I'm pretty sure that with DPDPA, the way we are talking about the data principal rights, the things will change.
Tanin, same consent management. You need to have 2 crores net worth to start a company and do consent management. Sorry, your thoughts on that? There's nothing mentioned on the skill set. We can all 100 of us sitting in this room open a consent management company _ DSCI. We have to give credit to DSCI also. Yeah. Your thoughts on consent?
I'm not sure about the consent part, but that's okay.
Did DSCI take our consent by the way?
Yes, we have given an explicit consent
Yeah,
probably. Okay, consent management, talking about consent management, if you read DPDP, the base of DPDP is all about consent. Everywhere, anywhere, they talk about that anything that you collect should have a consent.
Perfect.
But the GDPR is a different way. Why different way? If you read GDPR, it's not because they are not asking consent. It is asking consent, but certain point of time they are processing the data, thinking that they can need it to do something, some services.
Lawful processing.
Lawful processing.
Yeah.
Very rightly said. But in India, as you said, we don't read what is there on the whole page. The last thing we know, where is I agree.
how long I have to scroll to find I agree.
How fast can I go to I agree?
I agree. That is
Yeah.
that is the journey that we try to find out. Consent becomes a major challenge at any point of time, and not just collecting the consent. You collect the consent, understand the amount of management that you have to do to manage the consent. You gave a consent in one application, you withdrawn from another, and you have to have an all kind of an integration between all applications. How do you build that? I know there are a lot of solutions, and I'm sure in this today's audience would have many who have consent management. But having said that, if you ask me, embedding on consent management within the system and making sure to implement that
Traceability is very important.
flexible. Also, what happens, and I'll talk about my purely about healthcare. We do a lot of conferences, lot of such gatherings. We have a lot of HCPs coming across. We need to take consent on the event base. For example, January event, we have to take consent. February event, we have
Again,
to
take
take consent.
consent. Thank you.
March, once again.
So whatever again you do with that data, you have to take consent. Thank you
Yes.
for.
And
doing that.
in Europe, probably just for others to know that for certain countries, 5 countries in Europe has a double consent. Not just once, you have to take twice. No, I understand that is a different story altogether because
They've had the
they
privacy for
they
25
long
years
back.
ago.
They
Yeah,
started
yeah.
the journey long back. We just started the journey. We didn't start the journey yet. We would have
But
challenges.
thank you for bringing that out also.
We will have challenges, and we will someday somehow we'll be able to evolve out of it. But let's see the positive side. Understanding the challenges, there are great sides. Probably we'll do something great by near future.
Perfect. Niti.
So thanks. I think we spoke a lot about the challenges, and I personally haven't seen anyone doing consent very well, because the fundamentals of consent, the way they are asking is, it's easy to give consent, but it's not so easy to withdraw consent. So remember, whenever we talk about consent, there's also withdrawal permission that needs to
Which
be
is
given.
very.
And I'm not going to take names, but when I have to say okay to something, it looks fairly easy. But when I go back and say I want to unsubscribe, I want to opt out, I want to like withdraw my consent, they will ask me for my email address. Sometimes they're asking me for more data sets than they already have.
And
right?
also reminding 3 times, do you really want to unsubscribe?
Yes.
Please say
Voila.
yes.
Yeah.
Please, do you really want to unsubscribe? Yeah.
I'm ultimately facing more trouble, and there's some, I forget my credentials by then where I've logged
Yeah.
in, and I'm not able to withdraw consent. That's the kind of consent that we're not supposed to run. And I think the fundamental, and I like to put it in a bit of a philosophical manner, like, please don't do to others what you don't want others to do to you. If we can look at consent management in that way, I think a lot
That's a
of the
great-
tech
great.
developers in the room can help us.
Perfect. Vinod, sorry to put you in a spot. You mentioned that you have about 10 million, 100 million customers. The right to forgotten clause, which they've given right to. Now, if suppose even one user every day sends you an email, for next about 100 million years, your tech teams totally.
Right.
So what do you think? How do you think as a country we are ready to exercise these rights?
So right.
And do you think there could be misuse of this also?
Yeah. you're
Before
right.
then we'll go to the
Yeah.
audience question.
You rightly mentioned. So organization like us, heavily regulated,
Yeah.
we are more concerned about not to implement the control, but to take care of the DPR, data principal request. Let's say, for example, once this law will be applicable with respect to, so whatever the time we have, 18 months and now, so everyone will try their rights to try to exercise those rights. Okay.
I'm free now.
Yeah, you're
India
free.
mein,
Every
unfortunately, we have a
yeah.
lot of time. I will
Every-
exercise all my rights.
Yeah, so
right to
every
delete, right to
individual
forgot.
just to try to exercise their rights. Okay.
Let's see hota kya hai.
Let's see hota kya hai. So for that time, organization like us to see how to take care of the data principal request. So let's say, for example, today one user says that, boss, I don't need to give you a consent for 10 things. I only need to give you consent for 2 things. Now I need to figure out where all the data is moving and how to delete that data
Thank
from
you.
one single request or maybe trigger service, and then fulfill that data subject request, and then be ready with the evidences for the audit.
Perfect. Thank you. I think that's the best answer I could, even think of. On a lighter note, people tell me that because of AI, there will be a lot of jobs that are lost. I said, we'll keep coming up with DPDPA type acts when I need 10 people to just manage consent and 10 people to manage the rights, right? Yeah, DPS. Perfect. We'll pick up few questions from audience.
Can we have Priya Chauhan's, please? If
Oh,
can?
you are selecting from there?
I mean, if you want to.
No,
you can go
that's
ahead,
okay.
please. I mean,
Some easy ones, please.
Yeah, sure. So I think there was a discussion, fairly important discussion about business urgency. I think Priya Chauhan asked that privacy by design often clashes with business urgency. What frameworks or automation strategies have you been able to successfully, implemented and operational PBD at scale, especially in large data-heavy Indian enterprises?
So I can give you the other context, right? You're saying if you've tested the autopilot enough, because you need a new version of Airbus coming tomorrow, I would rather wait for 2 more days for that autopilot to come in without,
free.
so that it is
free
bug free,
Yeah.
right? And I think that will probably go for all organizations. It's a catch-22 situation, right? 10 years ago, it was the same case with security. You could launch an app, and please go back in history, 1995. I don't know how many of you were around when Windows launched the first 1995 operating system. They had a beta product first for 6 months while they were testing. Unfortunately, today, the gap between time to market and develop is reducing. And that's right, because you need to earn money also from a business perspective. But there has to be enough guardrails in place. You can't just today get up, build an LLM and say, I'll say, this is my business product without having security or privacy. Because like Neeti said, it's not a financial penalty. I know at least 20 people, 20 organizations, large corporates, who said 250 crores, we'll give it. Problem is, they should not publish our name in the newspaper saying, we've had a data breach. That is the consequence that your brand will go through. Tanin.
I mean, you correctly said that probably not extending further to it. Yes, understanding to the fact that privacy security evaluation, like what we call it shifting left,
Yeah.
that is an important. You should be not putting out policies and SOPs. You should be actually implementing that.
Implementing that, yeah.
How do we come to know? Many a times, I mean, if you talk about challenges, yes, on the 11th hour, our DPO has been called, this is something that we want to roll out. Can you check if it's okay on privacy or standpoint? I would say, hang on, when it was decided, say 3 months back.
Yeah.
I mean, why I was not there? Oh, well, we never thought of. That is where we lack. And you rightly said that evaluation and all this should not be on the document, should be implemented, and you will be able to close it.
You want to add something? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So I think also there's a culture, to have privacy champions in all of your teams. Like it can't, like I said, a DPO role, and that's why there's. I don't know if you've looked at the NIST frameworks or the the risk matrices of the world. They tell you we have like a 3 lines of defense culture. So your business stakeholders are actually the tier 1 defense. If they don't come to you, the first line of defense. If they don't come to you with the problem, or they don't come to you with, at the time of the project conceptualization, there's seriously a gap in the process. The DPOs and the CISOs are only on the second layer, and then of course we have the audits. So that's something to go back with.
I like the first question, by the way. With so much personal data already in the market, do you think even after implementing DPDPA, it will reduce or stop this marketing calls and companies stop selling data? I hope so. But maybe you want to talk about...
Yeah. So definitely this will reduce.
Yeah.
But at what extent, we don't know.
Your data is already out there, sorry.
Yeah, data is already out there. And as you rightly mentioned, Tanin, that we need to see from go-to-market point of view why this particular shift left on privacy is important to take care of that go-to-market time as well. If we have a mindset to take a privacy on a very first stage, then we can ensure that go-to-market time, and we also need to ensure through that, allow me a minute, through that let's say for example, if we are not including privacy discussion into our architectural reviews, then we cannot ensure it. This is not to be retrofitted.
Yeah, I think it's not a band-aid that you can retrofit everywhere.
But also a better answer, the first one, just to add, is I think as individuals we need to start exercising our rights as well. Like if we do have a right to erasure, how many of us actually know that we can go and where do we go? And I think also with the law we need to simplify, and the tech players in the room really need to sort of help us to exercise those
I think
rights.
just to add on this point, Niti said, I think we need to educate ourselves, and probably India at large needs to do a better job in terms of privacy, security awareness. I think we do a great job, but probably it's easier saying wearing a suit and sitting in a tier 1 city. India is much more than that. 75% of our population is in tier 2, tier 3 or beyond cities. I don't think so the right level of education from a privacy or security perspective reaches there.
One last question before we wrap things up. So there's a very simple, I think, question. Okay, can you describe a privacy concern, and how would you respond to a customer asking about an actual risk? Since you talked about grassroots levels.
Can you?
So K. Venkat Devakar, he asked that can you describe a privacy concern, and how would you respond to a customer asking about an actual risk?
Okay, so the privacy concern is, let's say for example, this particular DPDPA is empowering the individual, okay? And once we empowering the individual, that we are giving the rights to individual to decide, to choose, to know where his data is being utilized, used. And it also gives the rights to individual to decide at any point of time, ask any of the organization and to take the consent back. Okay. So let's say for example any individual see this particular his particular data or her particular data is not being utilized in a right manner. So that is a kind of risk from the individual point of view, right? And how to address that risk? So this particular law empowers a lot individuals that organization are bound enough to give them a right solution in the defined act. Okay, and with the right evidences, not only that getting a ticket and close the ticket. No, they have to furnish the evidence before the data principal, and not only that, for scrutiny also, for audit point of view also, data protection board may ask you any of the time. You need to ensure all the records in your DPIA and all those things. So this particular law is very very timely, and it is very very much required for individuals' privacy rights.
Can I ask a question? That's my question actually. I want to ask a follow-up if it's okay.
Just about, okay, so we have to wrap it up, please. If you go ahead, please.
I wanted to give a customer perspective. The reason I asked that question is, in India, basically the problem is you talk about any privacy concern. For example, health reports going out. I will say, so what? That's basically the problem. So if we are able to say what is the privacy risk and the subsequent risk attached to it on a practical level, is where we'll be able to get that awareness.
But that's the awareness piece, right? If an individual does not know what is the risk of his health report going out, I can collaborate it with, for example, an insurance company. They want that data at any cost, so that today when you apply for a term policy, right, they already have your health statistics. They know that these are the pre-existing conditions. I will automatically not give you a lower premium, I'll increase your premium.
Yeah.
And you don't want that happening, right? And any website, if you go try 3-4 times using the same cookie, same browser, you will see that suddenly your flight prices start increasing. And you switch to another browser, that is nothing but that is your cookie information, privacy going. So users also need to be very, very aware of what data I am sharing with whom. Because it will come back and haunt us only.
That is the crux of the problem. Not being able
I
to
give you a very
privacy
small,
concern.
unrelated this thing. I hope nobody is recording this. We do a lot of work with cybercrime cell. Almost double digits, 10-12% kidnappings happen of kids because parents blatantly put photographs of their kids with their certificates, which has the school, which has the class section. I can go to the school guard, unfortunately, you know the country where we think, give him some money, I can get your address. I can do profiling, say what time does he come, where does he go, and this is the actual modus operandi that that kidnappers are using. So please imagine, just before you share, right, be very, very careful. Saying I don't want to share anything, then you want to share, please share. post it 1 year later, remove the name of your son, nobody needs to know, right? I'm saying share what you want to share so that it doesn't come back and haunt somebody later.
I think we're done. If we can just pick up, Akansha, if I may request you to maybe choose one of the names, give a good shuffle.
Shuffle and what will you getting the question?
No.
This person will get TLC.
checkbox.
Everybody knows what TLC is? Tender love and care.
Yes.
All these guys, they're my team. So
They always get it.
Can you
they know.
please,
This is their appraisal.
can you please call out the name, please?
It's Rajan.
Rajan. Can we have Rajan?
Left,
Oh, he's
next,
already, wow, he's left.
next.
Next, please. I think, Gonu.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Vinti.
Hopefully the person is in the premises.
It's Anirudh.
Anirudh?
Anuddha,
All right. I hope you got the name right.
Yeah.
double DHA.
Amazon gift card for you. I hope so. That's why didn't I ask?
Now you take it,
I'll
don't
send
you?
everybody. I just
Now
want
he's
to,
doing the verification.
otherwise he'll shift me out here.
It's a 2FA now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Please give a huge round of applause for my please. They were absolutely rocking. Thank you.
On that very note, thank you so much. We have a few tokens of appreciation from DSCI. Just wanted to make sure.
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Akansha Rai.
On a lighter note, if somebody's just recently celebrated their birthday, I'm sure you would have got at least 50 messages from all service providers wishing you happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah? That's how privacy. Even my favorite pizza brand wished me happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Tanin. Thank you for everybody. Next up, Niti Paul. Mr. Vivek Kumar Gupta, William Tanin. And Mr. Jasprit Singh from Brown Cotton. Thank you so